back. It's the Todd Pod, Jer and the Bear, Todd and Jer. I like all three of those names. Maybe once we have more than 10 viewers, we'll have you guys vote on them, and we'll see what we can stick with. I'm excited for today. It is a scorcher out there. It's like 100 degrees. You go out, your balls are immediately... I don't know why I'm talking like that, actually. I'm sorry, but it's hot.
On the brain, yeah.
It's just really hot. I don't know why I said that. Sorry, my apologies. But it is June 29th, and let's get started. So I have a couple of things I want to talk about. For my segment today, I'm doing Democrats suck or Democrat hypocrisy, all of that. I feel like whenever a lot of these topics I come and I'm like, there's like 1 minute to say, and then I feel like we could talk for 20 minutes once I start. But I have a couple of things. I brought two things. I'm kind of going to say both, and I'll see which one you react to, and we'll go with it. And if we're done with it, then we'll go to the other, whatever. But one, we bombed an Iran-backed militia in like Syria, Iraq, whatever.
Yeah.
It was barely news. I don't think most people even know about it. Why is that never mentioned? I get upset about that for several reasons. One, I don't like war in general. I actually don't like war overall. I just don't think it's like a great thing. I feel like sometimes it might seem a little necessary, whatever. Why, if Trump, and I hate to be like defending Trump all the time, because I'm not defending Trump. He sucked, but I just don't get, in a lot of ways, but I don't get why if Trump bomb someone, people think we're the worst thing ever, and then when Biden does it, it's sneaky and no one says a word. And then also, I don't know, I feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Trump, I remember in like his first couple months, used like this big massive bomb, and people made a big stink about it because like, oh, he's using this big massive bomb. Well, if you're bombing people, yeah, you shouldn't use a nuclear weapon, but you're trying to you're trying to like kill them, or you're trying to like intimidate them, one or the other, whatever. So like, how are you gonna get upset at how strong a bomb is? And then my last thing is, I feel like no one does this, Democrats, Republicans, anyone, but like I actually try my best. It's really hard to value all lives, American, Middle Eastern, African, Asian, whatever it might be. Why are people so upset when someone dies in America, but no one says a thing when we bomb other countries?
Well, I mean, it's the classic thing of, if there's a plane crash in the middle of nowhere in like Eastern Europe, it'll be like 155 people dead, 17 Americans included. And like, I haven't lived in foreign countries, so I'm sure in the UK or Spain or Vietnam, they would do the same thing. But it does always seem like there is this sort of premium on American lives in terms of the way it's discussed. And look, I get it. We live in this country. There's a sense of nationalism and sort of a national fraternity amongst all the citizens, as it's something that sort of, it brings us together in a way that we are not unified with people from foreign countries in the same way. But look, I don't know what your second topic was, but I could talk for 45 minutes on this because this...
Well, no, my second one, you can probably talk for 3 hours on. Did you hear about the guy in Colorado who killed the gunman and then disarmed him and got killed by the cops?
I mean, how is that a Democrat suck? But yes.
Because there's no words. Why aren't people saying defund the police? Like, why is it only defend the police if it's, I hate to say this, but like when it's a suspected criminal doing something that's like not so blatantly good? This guy did a blatantly good thing. He killed a criminal who was in the middle of shooting other people. He took his gun out, he killed him, disarmed the guy, was holding the AR. Other cops came and shot him without saying anything. That's bad cops. Those are bad cops. Why aren't we making, like, honestly, there should be up in arms about this. We should be protesting. Why aren't we protesting?
Well, look, and I think part of it is that, and certainly Democrats, and I think people on the left, they always scoff at this idea of, oh, well, Republicans want more guns because a good guy with a gun could stop a mass shooting, or a good guy with a gun could stop a crime like happened today. And the thing is, it's when those stories happen, it doesn't fit the narrative. No one wants to talk about it. And it's just not something. And honestly, it's a similar thing to why no one is talking about the Syrian bombing. I'll tie these two topics together, Jeremy.
Thank you.
It's that no one cares. The thing is, it's Well, Democrats aren't warmongers. Democrats do good things. We do good foreign policy things. When Barack Obama drone strikes people in Yemen, that's a good thing. When George Bush was doing it, that's a bad thing.
Right.
When Barack Obama does things that George Bush only could have dreamed of in terms of, national surveillance, international surveillance, espionage, wiretaps, all this stuff, it's, oh, well, he's doing it to protect us. When George Bush even had a inkling of an idea to do something, he's literally Hitler. Yeah. And it's so disingenuous. Yeah, it's so disingenuous. It's so shallow. And it just really exposes them for what they are, which is people that are rooting for the red team or the blue team. In this case, the blue team, and it's the same thing with, because you know what, people that are anti-gun and people that are, they don't want to acknowledge the fact that, yes, you know what, sometimes people defend themselves with a gun. And frankly, it's the people that are most vulnerable that could use a gun the most. It's the single mother living in the ghetto. It's an old lady whose house gets broken into and then blasts some criminal in the face, which always gives me a laugh.
Yeah, here's the craziest part, which I feel like you've mentioned this quite a bit. I bash all of this shit. I'm anti-gun. I don't like guns. I'm actually against them, but I'll admit sometimes that it's not a big deal, or people are attacking the wrong thing. This guy had a gun. It was a good situation of a guy having a gun. Granted, maybe I don't know. And the bad guy or whatever who was trying to kill people, if he didn't have a gun, he would have probably tried to do something else. Who knows what would have happened? Stabbing, whatever, making a bomb, whatever. But happened to be this guy was able to stop him because he had a gun. I don't like guns in general. I'll still advocate against guns. I don't think they should be banned, but I think there should be less of them. But I'm not going to say this wasn't a good instance of it.
Well, and in 2 points. First of all, I've got enough guns for the both of us, so
I'm ready when shit hits the fan, bro. Trust me, I got a whole plan.
And look, and I think it's so unfortunate because if you remember the Florida shooting at Marjorie Stoneman or whatever the high school in Florida was that ended up being a very tragic situation. They had police on site, and there was a guy who's now basically a disgraced cop that basically stood outside while he listened to people being shot with his gun, and he decided to do nothing.
Yep.
And it's, it's like, he's not a hero. That cop was a coward. And you know what? It's honestly, this is something that people have this weird misperception of. Cops are not actually legally required to intervene to protect people. Everyone thinks that if a cop watches you get beat to death, it's like, oh, that cop can be fired. They didn't do their job. Nope, wrong. There's been multiple court cases, I think all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, that basically codify that the police are not there to protect you. They're not there to help you. They aren't legally required to. If you tried to sue a cop because he didn't intervene in a crime and you got grievously injured or someone you loved got killed, that lawsuit's going nowhere. It's going nowhere.
I never knew that. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty shocking, and without me,
I guess it's a little confusing because their logo or whatever is to protect and serve, or their motto, whatever you call it.
Here's a shocker for you: the logo was not a legally binding document.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying I understand the confusion.
Yeah, well, and it's look, and this is going to be my libertarian anarchist hat on. It's if you have any misconceptions about the police's job is to protect the state. That's what they're there for. They're there to protect the state and to protect society sort of as a whole, and really not even just society. When push comes to shove, they're there to protect the government and the people that are their bosses, which aren't us. It's the police chief, it's the city council, it's the mayor or governor or whatever. So, I'm a fairly pro-police person, especially in terms of I feel like this whole thing of, ACAB, all caps are bastards. It's like, no, they're not. And you know what? I think a lot of them are bad. And especially because look, if you extend the corruption umbrella out to, I think a cop that knows one of his fellow cops is consistently doing something bad, whether it's stealing money from suspects or whether it's beating people, if that cop doesn't turn that person in, I'm saying that cop's as bad as the one who's doing the beating, who's doing the stealing. And if you use that umbrella, there are a lot of bad cops, because it's not just a few bad apples.
Right.
The ones who are actually doing violence and doing blatantly illegal activity is probably smaller, but the amount that know about it and cover up or look the other way, it's huge. And so, I think we are going to be seeing, and I'm very happy about this, a shift in policing culture and really an understanding of saying that, look, this thin blue line and protect our brothers. And hey, look, they're just getting a little taste. It's from a drug dealer anyway. Who cares if they take, a stack of hundreds out of this guy's $100,000, bag of cash, he needs it more than him. No, bullshit. Like, if you want to be treated with respect, you need to engage in your job respectfully and responsibly. Right. But it's
let me hear about some Republican stuff, because I'm gonna just get worked up and pissed off. We gotta let me calm down a little.
And so, and this one pains me, and it's been a long time coming because, I don't know about you, but I grew up outside of New York City. My dad worked in basically outside of Lower Manhattan on 9/11, and Rudy Giuliani was this like epic, towering figure and hero coming out of, he was America's mayor.
He was the man. I'm from around New York area as well, and he was awesome.
He was untouchable. And look, when my dad,
he was going to run for president, or he like turned it into a run for president, right?
Yeah. And when my dad first started working in New York City, I think it was 1987. And this was when he's like, you would see people injecting heroin in Times Square. You'd see the peep shows. It was terrible. Me and my grandmother got a necklace snatched off her neck, and which made her never want to come up north again from Texas ever again. And my dad saw Rudy Giuliani's, under his leadership, the city transform. And I'm not going to say that it was all Rudy and all this. There's other factors going in, but you can't disconnect the two. And
broken window theory is like people were talking about that case study for years after saying.
Well, it's hilarious because now people will throw around and be like, well, everyone knows broken window theory is bullshit. And I'm like, hold on, like I'm not going to say it's like a proven factual theory, but it's like it sort of intuitively makes sense that if you don't let little shit slide, it makes it harder for big shit to slide.
I believe in it. It's I think it's related to like, and obviously nothing's absolute. That's the thing these days is people take everything absolute, and if it's not absolute, it can't be. But the idea, something like I'm not so familiar with, so if I say something wrong, hopefully people don't quote me on it, whatever. But like syntropy and entropy of like entropy. Or which is which? Entropy is as things go on, they get more and more disorganized, and syntropy is as things go on, they get more and more in tune and stuff. And it's like there's no just staying as it is. You're either going one way or the other. It's actually like a big reason. This is a little weird thing of me, but whatever. I don't really care. There's plenty of weird things people know about me. A big reason I'm growing my hair is because I feel like I got complacent at one time, and I want to not get complacent again. I want to keep on growing and getting better and better, because if I'm not growing and getting better, I'm not staying the same. I'm probably going down and getting worse and worse.
Well, look, and even though you're Jewish, I'm Christian, but I'm sure we both learned about Samson.
Oh hell yeah, that's what I tell everyone when they say, "Why are you growing your hair?" Like the Bible says to. Everyone listens to every other rule in the Bible except the one to grow your hair. It's bullshit.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep on going, my bad.
Just to see his slide over the last 2 years and all this BS with Trump, it's like, it's so sad to watch. And now recently he got, and look, I'll say it, he got his just desserts. He was peddling stuff in courts of law as an officer of the court of New York that were patently false and utter bullshit. And now they have revoked his license to practice law. And like, it's like, I swear he must have a brain tumor. Like, I don't understand what happened. Like this, I don't get it.
I hate to judge people by anything except like their character and like what their intent actually is, which I don't think his intent was really good. But also, like, he just looked like a schlub doing it the whole time too. He every press conference, he's like sweating, sneezing. There's some like nasty videos of him. Like, this guy needs to get off.
Well, and if I remember correctly, and it might have been some other idiot Republican who was pressing for stuff, but I think even some of like their court filings had like typos in them, and like it's like they didn't even have someone proofreading their shit. And again, I think the biggest reason for me why it really stood out, because it's just like over the past 6 months or a year to 6 months, it's really just been like watching how far he fell from how high he was. And it's, I went to Penn State, and with the Joe Paterno and the sex scandal and everything that happened there, it's like, it wouldn't have been as bad if Joe Paterno was known to be an effective but sort of an asshole coach. It's like, no, but he was the man who always stressed character and doing the right thing. And he made sure his athletes, graduated from college at higher rates than almost any other D1 football program because he really loved those kids. And the fact that he then gets caught up in this mess, it made it that much more painful and
like
that
Tiger
much
Woods. It's like Tiger Woods too. You're like, this guy can't have done that. No way. But you mind if I start with some craziness? This is Crypto Corner, but it's actually it's like horrible, hilarious, wild. Also, it's probably 85 different topics. I'm curious, like, what's going on in your head right now? Like, what's he gonna bring up? This is there's so many angles of this. We actually might have to have the entire next episode about this.
Okay.
John McAfee.
Oh my
God. Dude, what the fuck? Craziest shit ever. I don't know where to begin. If you guys aren't familiar, I'm sure everyone is, though. He supposedly killed himself. I actually do think he killed himself.
I do too.
There's so many conspiracies. He's been saying they're gonna kill him for the last 3 weeks. I think that's him going crazy, saying he's about to kill himself. Really, I don't get how they can't stop you from killing yourself. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to not provide them the tools for someone to out themselves. But he's a smart guy. I'm sure it wasn't that easy, and I'm sure he figured it out.
So I can actually give you a little insight in this because I worked in a jail as an intern.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
So the facility I worked in, and this was, I think, pretty common procedure in most U.S. prisons, certainly in Pennsylvania. You get a smock of unrippable fabric that you wear. It's a single piece, so there's no way you can tear it into strips to like make a noose or anything. You are under 24/7 video surveillance. There's someone who is basically watching you the entire time, or at least looking at you every like 15 minutes. And this part was gross, and I feel like it was almost more of a punishment and it's inhumane. I don't like it. But the food they would give them, instead of giving them something that would eat with a fork and knife, they take all the food, they mix it all together, and they compress it into a loaf. Yeah, no, I shit you not. So literally, they would take just like, and it wasn't like a special meal. Like, it's not like they whipped a smoothie. It's like if you were eating like mashed potatoes, meatloaf, gravy, and peas, they would just take that and like smash them all together and then smush it into this loaf.
So
and you
how
would
did
just
he
get
do
like,
it?
yeah,
How
you would just
did
get
he do
like,
it then?
well, and look, in Spain, who knows what their procedures were and all this. And with the man of, my guess is the number of resources he had. Look, the one thing, it's with enough money, you can get anything you want in jail. Like, I don't know if you've seen, but like you can see videos of fights from inside jails that people took with smartphones.
Dude, I follow people on TikTok who are in jail. It's the most fascinating TikToks. I love it.
Yes.
But a couple points I wanted to bring up about him, because there's a lot of angles, but there's a few things I wanted to say. Is one, the reason I brought him up for crypto is a big reason, or the reason he was actually in jail was a lot of tax evasion and stuff, which a lot of it stemmed from 2017, 2018 bull run. He used to do the most ridiculous pump and dumps where every Monday he had a coin of the week, and basically he would tweet this coin. It'd be like a Shiba Inu type thing or whatever, like coins like that. If you bought it within a minute or two of him tweeting it, you like almost always doubled your money. Within the next couple of hours, it would skyrocket. By the next day, it'd go right back down. After like a month or two, eventually people were like, this sucks, it's ridiculous, they're all just pumping dumps. He was getting paid by the coins, plus front running them. So like, you can make a lot of money doing that. But one thing I guess that is a little bit annoying or bothersome is like, one, people give a lot of crap to Elon, and Elon's doing the same thing, or was kind of doing very similar things, but a lot of people aren't giving crap to John McAfee, which I find a little weird. And also, I find like there's this thing with crypto of honoring these heroes that definitely did some things that were cool, but like they weren't good people. This guy, I'm pretty sure John McAfee murdered someone. I don't think he got convicted for it, but I'm pretty sure he did it. He enjoyed, I guess it is what it is, what you enjoy, but like he enjoyed getting shitted in his mouth by hookers or whatever, which again, if you're down for that, I guess it's cool. I'm not against, but like this guy doesn't seem like a hero. in my opinion.
No.
And then it just reminds me also of like Ross Ulbricht, who is in jail for life, founder of the Silk Road, that all these crypto people champion, like, oh, he's a hero, he's a hero. This guy, like, I'm convinced, tried to have people killed. He hired hitmen. People are like, oh, he's in jail for life for having a marketplace, an open source marketplace. No, that's not what he's in jail for life. He's in jail because he tried to have someone killed.
So there's an actually really interesting, it's not a great movie, but it's interesting. It's called Silk Road. And it's not like it's like a docudrama kind of thing. And the way, and the thing with that, with Ross specifically, or Russ or whatever his name is that he, it really looks like the FBI or DEA or someone really sort of helped move him towards the thought of like, hey, why don't you kill someone?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this person might rat you out. So, you know, you can hire someone on Silk Road. Like,
Yeah.
and again, who knows? And I agree. And there's a documentary about McAfee called Gringo, and it's about his time in Belize and these murders and everything he did. And like, apparently he basically took over this like small town in Belize or like some area of Belize and had his own like armed to the teeth military security and
paying all the shit going on.
Yeah. And apparently because the story of the murder is apparently he had these vicious guard dogs and his neighbor poisoned the dogs and then that guy died the next day.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So what we'll probably again talk about next time, because I don't want to talk too much now. We're already pretty long, and we could talk for another like hours about this. Supposedly he had like 80 terabytes of info, and then some people think that info was in the Miami condo that fell down. And you're like, dude, I know that there's some crazy shit going on, but that one's a little too much for me.
No, it's too much. Well, and honestly, you know, I've always been a big fan of Occam's Razor, which is the idea that like the simplest solution is, or the simplest explanation for anything is usually the explanation.
Yep, exactly.
And I, like you, agree that I don't think he killed himself. I think he knew the end was up. I think this is a man who has been a lifelong troll. I mean, I don't know if you look up some of his YouTube videos, like he would make these insane, like highly produced YouTube videos, like joking about things like how do I uninstall McAfee software? And he's just a nut. And I think he saw it's like, all right, the jig is up. I shouldn't have ever landed in an EU country. I'm going to go off with the biggest troll I've ever done, which is to basically all I'm going to do is tell people for years, I would never kill myself. I would never kill myself. I would never kill myself. I've got these 30 terabytes of data. I've got this dead man switch set up. And then he just offs himself. He pays someone to smuggle him in a piece of rope or some pills or however he did it. Yeah. I would be interested to see is how he killed himself. I still haven't heard that yet.
That's true.
I think that's much more likely than some sort of grand conspiracy. And at the end of the day, I think we often also assign this idea that people that are vastly wealthy are also vastly important and involved in all this crazy stuff, when sometimes it's like, no, he's just a rich dude and he's just nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
And he may have like having people poop on him. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know,
not my role to judge.
I think you provided me a good segue into I'm just going to call it horrible because there is absolutely nothing hilarious about what happened in Miami, but I think it's something that does need to get talked about. And honestly, I have not heard yet that people think that the information was in the Miami condo, but that's just like, of course people think that. Like, of course people do this. And again, going back to Occam's Razor, it's like, okay, did John McAfee have his servers there that was ready to send out all the dead man switch info, and that's why someone covertly demoed the building? Or was it a building that was built near a beach that has been not maintained, that people have been warning about for years, that had corrosion and crumbling foundation and everything else, and people didn't know that it needed to be fixed fast enough, and it just collapsed? But it's absolutely terrible. I mean,
there was a lot of machinery on the roof, which what's it called? Like, I don't know how much, but they said there was a lot of machinery on the roof, and then there was also building a half a block away of another like skyscraper or whatever, that the residents for the last week said they could feel the building moving from this construction. So you have the building moving from construction, heavy machinery on top, plus the foundation in Florida is just not good. That's known. And I don't think they have great regulations for building in Miami. I think it's kind of like anything goes.
Well, I think the building was like 20, 30 years old. So you're looking at like maybe late 80s, early to mid 90s being built. I know for a while that there was literally like this massive construction boom in Miami that was basically completely fueled by cocaine money.
Yep.
So my guess is that while all the developers were just blowing rails, that they weren't too super worried about the integrity of the buildings that were laundering money through. So yeah, but I mean, to me, there's something that is terribly awful. It's at this point, I think it's like 150 or 159 people presume are missing at this point. It's like, look, let's be real. They're presumed dead at this point. Like it's terrible, and I can only imagine what those families are going through. But there's apparently another building that is basically its sister building. Like, I think same builders, same design, same floor plan, that is like 3 blocks away. And I just can't even imagine being those people living in that building and just being like, I just cannot even imagine. And it's just, did you watch the video of it? Have you seen the?
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen a lot of the videos.
It's unreal. Honestly, when I had not seen anything that made me be like, holy shit, since I watched like the towers collapse.
I can't believe people lived. How do you live? I don't really understand.
It went so fast. Like it
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, well, and that was the terrible thing too, because I saw it first thing in the morning when they said it happened in like the early dawn hours. I was like, oh man, that's literally the worst time for something like that to happen.
And it's mostly old Jews. It's like no, that like the community. It's a lot of older Jewish people, which I think is interesting too. I don't know too much about it, but like Israeli military, I guess, I forget what you'd call them, but they came to help save people, dig through the rubble. They're probably used to a lot of similar types of things, and supposedly they weren't really allowed in the work site for a little bit. I saw a video of like a community meeting where this woman was pleading. She's like, let the Israelis do something. They're just waiting. Why can't they work? Which I'm curious to see what the reasoning is behind that. I'm sure some McAfee conspiracists are like, oh, the Israelis are going to take the information, and then Soros is going to become Satan, and this is how the world ends or something. Who knows? But
no, I think the whole thing is just a terrible tragedy, and I feel like the word tragedy gets thrown around a lot in terms of things that, like, it's like, was it bad? Sure. Was it a tragedy? No. It's like, but a building completely out of nowhere collapsing and probably killing anywhere from
over 100 people,
50 people. Well, and they're literally saying that this, if all the people that are unaccounted for end up dead, that it will have been the worst, it'll be the most deadly building collapse in all of American history. Not the last 50 or 100 years, literally all of American history. So like when we were building skyscrapers with like bullshit construction techniques in, whenever they started building skyscrapers, none of those collapsed.
You don't hear about that in America, like really.
No, it's and it's just so sad, and I can't even imagine it. And like, I think it will be interesting to see how this plays out legally from a civil standpoint.
There's a lot of lawsuits going on already.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't have to say that or why. Right?
Yeah. You said it, not me.
Yeah, I'm allowed.
And honestly, the thing I'm interested to see is if there are going to be criminal charges, because I don't understand.
I'm sure someone is negligent somewhere.
It would not. Well, and the most effed up thing is that the person who ends up getting arrested and thrown in will probably be some fall guy for.
Not the person who's actually at fault. Yeah, he's gonna be that guy's like the guy's boss's boss is the one who's at fault, and he'll pick someone.
And that guy's probably vacationing in like a non-extradition country until this whole thing blows over and he sees like how things work out.
They're going through the drug test probably right now of the workers to see who has like remnants of drugs that they can be like, it was that guy. He didn't even know how to use the machine. But no, I appreciate that. You're definitely right. Not hilarious at all. Super horrible. Interested to see what else comes from that, but I think that's about our time for today. Honestly, one of my favorite episodes with you. That was a blast. I feel like we could talk one day, not too soon, but one day in the next year, we're just gonna go for as long as we can. We're just gonna have like a marathon podcast. Like, how long can we talk without like it going silent or stale? I think we could go 8 hours. I do.
Like, I think I think if we do that, let's each just throw in like 250 topics into like some like random Excel spreadsheet, and then use the function to randomly pick things, and we'll just be like, all right, here we go.
We're doing it. But next week, we don't know what we're doing yet. Like, subscribe, any of the places that you watch podcasts to listen to us. Let us know what you want to hear, and let us know if you want to be a guest. We want to have a guest on. It would be a blast. So thank you. As always, Todd, any closing statements?
No, stay safe out there.
All right. Much love from Todd, the Todd Pod, Jer and the Bear, Todd and Jer. Love you guys. See you soon. As always.